Hey folks, how's it going? Dr. Spin, Eclectic Album Reviews and General Musical Meanderings. Finally, we're here at the end of 2022, and I've got my top 20 for you. So here's how this works. It's a little bit different, I think, from maybe some other folks' top 20s. First of all, any album that I've listened to this year is up for the top 20, not just albums from 2022, which gives me the leeway to listen to older music or maybe albums by bands that I've never listened to or heard before, and still give that music a chance to connect and broaden my mind and maybe in places or deepen my understanding of music in spots that maybe didn't just happen this year. Also, only one album per artist. So if I have 5 or 6 albums by the same artist I listen to throughout the course of the year, only one ends up being a representative for all those albums in the end. It's been a year-long ongoing process that I've involved myself in for the top 20. So for now, let's go ahead and get started. At number 20, I've got Lindsey Buckingham's self-titled release. Lindsey Buckingham, of course, guitarist from Fleetwood Mac, highly underrated genius, I think, in both terms of songwriting and playing. And as a guy who's been at this for decades now, still has it. Fantastic album with amazing, amazing production. Okay, next up I got the Freestyle Fellowships, To Whom It May Concern.
The world debut intro to the Sunshine Men.
To Whom It May Concern was re-released earlier this year, and it's an album that I'd never heard before. And it's an album that's of hip hop and rap from like my favorite period, early '90s, pre-chronic rap. And they just don't make hip hop like this anymore. Very socially conscious, very energetic, very in its own way experimental, and extremely musical. Okay, next up I got M83, the Oblivion soundtrack. I've been a fan of M83 for years, and this soundtrack that he made for Oblivion's, his one big movie soundtrack, very successful. Is able really to pretty seamlessly blend what makes his music unique with orchestra, with an orchestral scope and orchestral arrangements. Plus the end track. Very rarely does it turn out where you've got a single associated with a movie that's really the best song on the album. Man, the song Oblivion is probably one of my favorite tracks from this year. And even if the whole album is mediocre, a case for this album to be amazing could be made for just the genius in that song. Okay, next up I got Kate Bush, The Hounds of Love. Certainly 2022 was a boom year for Kate Bush. Her inclusion of Running Up That Hill on the Stranger Things soundtrack opened up her music for a whole new generation of folks. For me, of course, I've known about Kate Bush for years, but really have never followed her very closely. So this is an opportunity for me to check it out and again delve into an older album that really has a timeless nature to it. Very consistent, very forward-thinking, and really ingenious, particularly when you take into account when it was released in the mid-'80s. Okay, next up I got Salt's Air. Ever unpredictable Salt blows everybody's minds this year by creating not an experimental R&B album like they have been so far, but a full-on orchestral work. It's Salt's always anonymous nature. They release music without announcing it and never talk about the inspiration or why they did it. Always their music has sort of some subtext with a commentary on the black condition. So this is a big orchestral work. I think is really like a fascinating enigma that I'm really just not enjoying in terms of its musicality, but what it stands for. Okay, next up I got Avalanche Kaito's self-titled release. Two members from a Belgian noise rock ensemble with African griot, countercultural, and antagonistic almost tones from both of these groups even separately, but put them together, what a match made in heaven. Aggressive, amazing musicality, and a statement about what is common in music across different cultural boundaries. Okay, next up, The Buggles, The Age of Plastic. Of course, The Buggles' Age of Plastic harbors the hit video He'll Kill the Radio Star, a important piece of music history as the first song that was ever released on MTV, and predictive of what was going to be happening for the next 10 years as far as musicians, as the media and the way that their media was presented was changing around them. But also a really great album statement across all the tracks, very, very consistent, more so than I think that most people realize. And also fantastic musicianship. Again, I like to give Jeff Downs as a Yes member and as an Asian member sometimes a little bit hard time, but his borderline sort of like hokey, almost hokey thematic approach works so well in the context of the Buggles. Okay, next up I got Domi and JD Peck's Not Tight. If there's any group that's really trying to take jazz and make it relevant in the 21st century, it's these folks. Domi and JD Beck, young, almost child prodigies on their instrument, taking current hip hop and sort of trap drum standards and applying them to jazz improvisation and jazz vocabulary in a very unique way that melds that style almost seamlessly with late 70s jazz fusion, and both in terms of the vocabulary they use and the sounds they use. Next up, Beauty Pills, Sorry We're Here.
Some folks' lives roll easy.
Sorry We're Here is a soundtrack to a dance troupe piece that the Beauty Pills commissioned to write. And on the subject of suicide, aside from its concept, the range of sounds that it uses. I mean, on the one hand, you've got these, dulcimers, and on the other hand, bass sounds, and all fits together in this really unique package that predicts where Beauty Pill would be heading on their future work, I think, as a very interesting bridge between their previous work and what they would be doing to follow. And at number 11, we got 100 gecs, 1000 gecs.
My boy's got his own ringtone. It's the only one I know. It's the only one I know. My boy's got his own ringtone.
I finally took the dive on 100 gecs this year, and they're sort of like Death Grips meets the Glitter Trolls approach to hyperpop. It seems like an obstacle at first, but it's all so tongue-in-cheek and so over the top that you can't help but look at that as a commentary on the current state of pop music. They take everything that's almost distasteful about current pop music, the auto-tuning and over-the-top compressed distortion, and they weaponize it and make amazing, amazing songs in it, and also geared toward the avant-garde from time to time, with sound effects and whatever else. So a surprise hit that I think that if you start peeling back the layers on this album, there's a whole lot more going on there than superficially what seems to be the case with it, which is the beauty of the album, I think. And that's all I got for you guys on this round. Now, the next post is going to be my top 10 leading up to the album of the year. So if you want to know what's going to happen, please like and subscribe and share the video out with your friends. Also follow me over on Spotify. Not only is there the ongoing Radio 2022 album listing that I have up there, but there's also going to be a top 20 album, the shortened version that has just the representatives from this top 20 list. So please be on the lookout for that. And until you see you next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.
On that boy.